What is up, guys? We're back for another UFC breakdown, man. Roman Dolidze against Martin Vettori. And we got my boy Keezy from the Jiu-Jitsu Club once again. Welcome back, man. How you doing?
Thank you, brother. I'm doing great. Doing great. Awesome card last weekend to switch in the title, which was crazy. And we got another fun card coming up. I'm excited for the rematch.
Nah, absolutely, man. So, guys, if you guys enjoyed the last card, we broke it down. We gave up some blowout winners, man. We pretty much called it almost perfectly. So if you guys want to see more of things like this, man, hit that subscribe button, put a thumbs up, and let us know who you like in the comments. We have another big card. Obviously not as headline famous as this one, but I still think it's a great card to be betting on and try to make some money. So, yeah, man, let's go start off with the first fight on the card for the main card. We're not going to go through every single undercard, but we're going to go on the main card, and we're going to talk about the first one. So let me pull up the screen. I'm going to be using Tapology just to display these fights. So if you guys are ready, man, let's get straight into it. The first fight, I believe, on the card is right here. Seung-Woo Choi against Kevin Vallejos. So, my man, why don't you start us off? What do you think about this card? What do you think about this first fight?
This fight's going to be, it's a sleeper fight, honestly. I think this might be fight of the night on the entire card. Kevin Vallejos is sick. I think he has 10 knockouts in his 14 wins. So he moves forward. He has heavy hands. He hits hard. He's going to be exciting to watch. It's going to be his first fight in the UFC, coming off a Contender Series win. So it'll be interesting to see how he does against competition like Seung-Woo Choi. Seung-Woo Choi is good as well. He is 11-7, so he's had a little bit of a rougher come up than Kevin did, but he kind of needs to win this fight. He's been in the UFC for a while, and you could say he's almost a vet now. I don't know, he has like 10 UFC fights or something like that. So it's kind of like a must-win for him. I think the UFC gave him this as a test to see if he's still in it, to see if he's still got it. Coming off a loss for a first-round finish. So, yeah, I think Seung-Woo Choi really needs to win this one, but I'm excited to see it nonetheless. It's going to be a firefight, and Kevin Vallejos, I'm high on this guy. I think he's a sick prospect.
Yeah, man, I mean, you guys will probably see this as a theme of this card, but there are some huge favorites in this card. I haven't seen a card like this in a long time, so I'll break this down in terms of like fighting, but then also betting, because picking a fighter to win versus betting on them is completely different for me, because I will bet on a fighter even if I don't think they're going to win, if the odds make sense. Piggybacking on what you said, basically, I agree with everything he's saying. I mean, Vallejos, he came off the Contender Series, I believe he won by knockout, or he had a very, knockout against Cam Teague in the Contender Series. Obviously, there's a lot of these fighters that come into the Contender Series, get on the main card, and they get a test. And I think, Seung-Woo Choi, you see right here, he's 1-4 in his last 5. He's a decent test, man. He's a veteran, like you said, has been fighting in, some of the highest levels. His last fight was against Steve Garcia 7 months ago. He did get knocked out, but a top-tier guy, not a guy that I would be too ashamed of losing against. And like he said, Kevin Vallejos, it looks like he has heavy hands. I will say the thing about this fight is that Seung-Woo Choi has a huge, size advantage in terms of his reach. 74.5-inch reach, 6 feet in height, while Vallejos is 5'7", 68-inch reach. But this is the thing that makes this fight tough to bet, is Vallejos is a minus 450 favorite. That is huge, guys. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think this fight, it's a little bit closer than that. Like, I think for sure the one thing I don't like about Seung-Woo Choi is that he is down to fight with you. He is down to firefight. He leaves that chin in the air, and he will fight fire with fire. So, for sure, man, I mean, if Vallejos gets his way and he lands a shot, he can definitely knock the lights off Seung-Woo Choi. But at the same time, man, I mean, Seung-Woo Choi does have that size advantage. He has the experience. And someone coming up the Contender Series, going on the big stage on the main card, we've seen it many, many times. They get those, like, first-time jitters, and they don't perform as well. So who I think probably wins this fight, I mean, I don't like Seung-Woo Choi. I think Seung-Woo Choi, he just fights too wild, and he leaves his chin out there way too much. So I can definitely see Kevin Vallejos knock him out. The only way you could bet this fight, in my view, is Vallejos by KO. I don't know what the payout is for that. I would have to look it up somewhere else. But based on just the money line itself, given the situation, I would take a shot with Seung-Woo Choi. I don't feel comfortable putting him in a parlay at minus 450. Newcomer from a Contender Series, fighting a guy who has the size and reach advantage and is down to firefight with you. I mean, he has a shot, man. I don't think this fight is that, like, far-fetched where Kevin Vallejos is 100% to win, but I don't know what you think, man. What's your opinion on this?
No, yeah, I completely agree with you. I don't think it's 100% on Kevin's side, but I think the fight definitely does favor, as you can see in the odds, Kevin. I don't know if I'm betting Sung Woo Choi. I just really think that the younger Kevin, he's hungry. He first fight in the UFC. He wants to put on a show. Heavy hands. Sung Woo Choi leaves his chin up in the air. I got to go with Kevin on this one. I'm betting Kevin inside the distance. If
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I think that's like totally reasonable. Like, there's no way I would put. I don't bet minus 450 unless it's like Islam Makhachev against somebody like who was the last guy he fought? He fought Moicano.
I
Like,
don't know.
if he was like minus 500 against Moicano, yeah, for sure, that's easy work. But this definitely doesn't feel the same to me. But yeah, all right, man. So I'm in agreement with you. I do think it's Valeos. If he does win, it's probably inside the distance. So I'm with you there. All right, let's see. It's back out of this. I gotta. All right, next fight on the board. Let's see. We just went through Kevin Valeos against Sung Woo Choi. The next one we do have is click on this. Brenson Ribeiro against Dr. I'm not even gonna try to say his last name. Nurger Zolov. I've seen Brenson Ribeiro fight a few times. He did get his last win against Caio Machado. He had a split decision win, which I thought was very, very close. But he lost his last two fights against Magomed Gadzhizulov and Mingyang Zhang. And then he's fighting DR, who is off the Contender Series as well. Another Contender Series fighter going against what I would call a more experienced UFC fighter. He's coming off also Eagle FC from Kazakhstan. He's a moderate favorite, minus 280. The only thing I can say about Ribeiro is that he's tough. He's a very tough guy, very physically strong. You can tell he has that wiry, like fast twitch muscle strength. So he's a tough guy. He looks like he's 35 years old, but he's only 28 years old. So even though he's 16-7, he does have a lot of experience. He is fairly young, same age as DR. He has that UFC experience. I don't know. It's gonna be the battle of two different styles. Obviously, the Kazakhstan fighters, guys like Shavkat. We saw the Zalmagulov and a few other guys. I mean, they're very similar to a lot of these Russian fighters. Very tough, good wrestling, decent stand-up. Again, it's tough for me. In this one, though, I do think DR, he has that, even though he is around the same age, he does look a little bit younger, a little more greener. It's going to be interesting to see because Ribeiro, there was some points in his career where he was viewed as a very, very top-tier prospect. He's had a little bit of a skid, but he did get a win in his last ones. I don't know. To me, it's very tough to call right now, but I don't know, Keezy, what do you think? What's your call on or view on this fight initially?
It's tough, right? Two good guys. Brenson, couple UFC fights. He has the experience fighting under the bright lights. He knows what it feels like to be in that octagon. Like you said at the beginning, we thought he was a hot prospect for sure. We thought he was going to be something big. Still can be something big. Only 2-fight loss. He's on a 1-fight win streak. Stacked one more up. He's got a lot of momentum in his favor. So I definitely think I don't see it being an easy task for DR. Now, that being said, DR, 10 wins, 8 finishes, 0 losses, 6 knockouts, 2 submissions. I mean, this guy's a finishing machine. He's from Kazakhstan. He's tough. The Kazakhs, we know about them. Shavkat Rakhmonov, he's an absolute savage. They have a different mindset. I don't know. I'm from the U.S. We aren't bred like they're bred in Kazakhstan. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be a tough fight for Brenson, for sure. DR's good. DR's solid on the feet. He's solid on the ground. Brenson's solid on the ground. Obviously got good striking, but we'll see how much he can match up with him on the feet. I mean, I'm excited to see this one. DR is making his UFC debut, I believe. Yes, UFC debut. Fought 1 round 2 knockout on the Contender Series. So yeah, it'll be good. This is going to be a barn burner for sure.
So do you got, if you had to, I guess, make a bet on this fight, who would you pick or what would you lean towards?
I'm leaning towards DR. He is the up-and-comer. He's hungry. He wants to show people it's his UFC debut that he's got it. He's got what it takes to fight at the top of the food chain. Brenson, like I said, tough guy, Brazilian, good jiu-jitsu, good stand-up. But honestly, I just think DR is going to be able to push the pace. I think DR is going to be able to outstrength him a little bit and be a little bit stronger. He's got that Kazakhstan strength. And yeah, if I had to make a pick, I'm going with DR.
Hey, man, I kind of have to go with DR too. I don't love these odds, man. Like, I'm going to keep on saying this probably for a lot of these fights. Like, I do not like these odds. I think he's really more like a minus maybe 170, 160, but minus 280, minus 300 is insane. I mean, I do think Ribeiro has a chance. Like, he is also fairly physically strong. They match up pretty, like, evenly on the size. Like, Ribeiro, according to this, has a 7-inch reach advantage, which will be huge. So, I don't know, but yeah, I actually will probably do a little bit more research on this because I do think these odds are a little bit easier to attack either way. But yeah, I mean, I'm with you initially. I do like DR, young prospect coming up and seeing if he could step up against a tough first fight, man, in my opinion, in the UFC.
Yeah, very tough first fight in Brenson. Brenson's been in there, like I said, a few times already, so he knows what that feels like. But yeah, the odds are a little bit out of whack on this one. I wouldn't straight bet it, to be completely honest with you, but I still definitely think DR's could get the job done.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Obviously, we have any other further thoughts, I'll put it like in the pin comment or something down below. All right, now we're going to the meat and the potatoes, the last 4 fights on this main card. And I'll let you start off, but we got Damon Blackshear against Cody Gibson. My man, what do you think? What's your view on this fight?
Yeah, this is good. Amon, he is a vet, a UFC vet, had a bunch of UFC fights before. Big, strong guy, likes to move forward. And then you have Cody Gibson on the other side. Cody is an Ultimate Fighter guy. He's been on the Ultimate Fighter. He was coached by Conor in that Ultimate Fighter series. He was, I believe, in the UFC. And then, yeah, he was released by the UFC. And then he went on kind of like an up and down streak. And then he got put on the show again. So it'll be interesting to see how Cody does. I mean, at one point we thought Cody could be a prospect to fight for the title. Now we want to see. He lost to Brad Katona, which was during the Ultimate, or right after the Ultimate Fighter. It was for the Ultimate Fighter finale, I believe. And so we'll see. It was fight of the night. Cody likes to move forward. Damon likes to move forward. It's going to be a good fight. I don't know. It's a tough one to call. What do you think?
I mean, so I actually did a lot of research on this fight because I didn't know what the odds were. That's what I try to do. I try to look before I see the odds. And I'll be honest, let me say this first. I do think Cody Gibson's okay. I think he's going to be a gatekeeper fighter. I don't think he has the skill set or the athleticism to be a title contender, because even on the wins he's had, it's been lower level guys. I think Brian Kelleher, I think he's a bum. He should not be in the UFC. I'm not even sure if he's in the UFC anymore. No, and then Chad, I mean, he's okay as well. Nothing that great. And if you look at Damon Blackshear, who he's fought, Lacerda's a fairly good fighter. Jose Johnson's okay, but then he's lost to Mara Batista, really good fighter. Lost to Montel Jackson, knockout artist, very good fighter. And then he last beat Cody Stamen. So I think he's fought higher level competition and beating higher level guys. And I'm going to keep on saying this, man. The only thing that gets me flabbergasted are these odds. Damon Blackshear is a minus 400 favorite against Cody Gibson. I do think Damon Blackshear is going to be better almost everywhere, whether it's standing up and especially on the ground. I think he has the jiu-jitsu, grappling, wrestling advantage. And I think he could possibly get a submission victory over Cody Gibson. The only thing is these odds are crazy. I do think Cody Gibson has a chance. He's a tough guy. He's fundamentally sound. This is a big step up in competition for him. And I think Damon Blackshear is more has a physical advantage. And if it hits the floor, I think Damon can get a submission victory. I mean, I think a majority of his wins have been by submission. And even if you look at Tapology, a lot of people do think it's either by submission or decision. But yeah, minus 400. Now go ahead.
I just said 10 out of his 15 wins were submission.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I mean, my leans with Damon Blackshear. I mean, I wouldn't parlay this at minus 400. I do think there's value on Cody Gibson, but I think Damon Blackshear actually gets the job done here, probably by submission or a finish. But I don't know what you think. What's your opinion on this fight?
Yeah, no, I'm going to have to double down on that one. Cody Gibson has lost 4 fights by submission. Damon, 10 wins by submission. So it kind of shows if Damon can get him to the ground, there's a high percentage that he's going to finish Cody by submission. So if I'm a betting man, I'm betting Damon Blackshear by submission.
Hey, man, yeah, I'm with you there, man. So again, another really chalky fight, but I mean, we have to try to get creative with some of these to try to get, some value out of it, man. This is insane.
Absolutely.
All right, let's see. We got the last 3 coming up, and this one's a good one, man. Let's see. I guess I'll start this one off. We have Alexander Hernandez against Kurt Holobaugh, and this one finally we get some odds that maybe we could work with a little bit. But right now it's Alex Hernandez, a minus 190 favorite against Kurt Holobaugh, plus 155 underdog. And I've watched Alex Hernandez fight for a long time. He was I don't know if it's a theme, either new up and comers or guys who had high potential and kind of not maybe lived up to what people thought they could be. Alex Hernandez is one of those guys. People really thought he was a title contender, possibly a really big prospect, but he's had some tough losses, man. But he has fought some pretty tough guys. Billy Quarantillo put him through the ringer, and just too much volume for him. Gassed him out. He got a win after against Jim Miller. I mean, Jim Miller, even though he's beaten some pretty good guys, I mean, he's 40-something years old. I guess I give him some credit for that. Then he lost to Bill Adger, who's a beast. Damon Jackson, who, I mean, I don't know if he's even going to be in the UFC anymore. And then he did get his last win against Austin Hubbard, who I think is okay. I mean, nothing special. But then Kurt Holloway, he's fought a few guys in the XFC, but his last few fights, he did beat Austin Hubbard, lost to Trey Ogden, who is a lot better than what people think. I mean, I think he's been underrated. And then he beat, I don't know who Kyan Kershowski is, but nonetheless, I do think Alex Hernandez has good fundamentals, decent wrestling, good stand-up. But, I mean, I'm going to pull a parallel to what I said in the last card that we looked at. He kind of reminds me of Jalen Turner a little bit. Very talented, but for some reason, he just like ends up gassing out, giving up, and fading in some fights. And a guy like Kurt Holloway, who's pretty tough, he could put you in those situations where he can make you give up or put you through some type of like pace or motion where we'll see if Alex can, you know, get through that adversity. And at a minus 190, I'm not sure if I want to do that with Alex Hernandez, but what do you think, man? What's your view on this fight?
Yeah, it's tough. We love Kurt. You know, he's this is his third time in the UFC, by the way. So he's got the UFC experience. You know, he knows how it feels to be in there. He was cut his second time, went on an absolute tear. I think he's 4-1 in his last 5. So he's got some good wins. His strength of schedule is all right compared to Alex's. Alex's strength of schedule, like you said, is pretty good. I mean, Drew Dober, definitely a gatekeeper, but he's in there. Donald Cerrone in there. Thiago Moises, Renato Moicano, Billy Q, you know, Jim Miller. He was old, but like some of the biggest names in the sport. So Alex Hernandez definitely has a strength of schedule. He's been put in there. We'll see if he can keep up with the cardio. That being said, Kurt is 38. Alex is 32. Only 6 years, but this is a young man's game, man. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. We'll see if Alex can hang in there, and we'll see if Kurt's still got it at 38 years old with his third time in the UFC.
Yeah, I mean, so if you had to, I guess, make a pick on this fight, who would you go with in this?
Yeah, it's tough. I don't want to straight bet it, but if I had to make a pick on who's going to win, I'm definitely going to rock with Alex. I like the younger guy. The percentage, the odds are usually higher when the younger guy is fighting an older guy. Kurt, I love him. I think it's his time. I think he would do better on the coaching side. No hate, no disrespect. I think Alex takes the win tonight.
Yeah, no, of course, man. There's no hate any of this. We're just making bets, and you know, we got to be objective. And look, I do think, you know, probably like majority of the time, Alex Hernandez probably wins this fight. But I think this fight's a little bit more 50-50 than what the odds reflect. I do think, rightfully so, Alex Hernandez, for the reasons you mentioned, should be the favorite. But I think Kurt Holloway has a chance. I think there's some slight value with him here. And I just don't want to put my money behind fighters where I've seen them give up, where they just fade for no reason. Even if they're winning, they're getting the momentum, they just end up fading, make the fight a lot closer than it should be. So if I was forced to bet, I'll take the plus money with Kurt Holloway, plus 155. See where this line moves throughout the closer to the fight. I'd imagine that people will probably keep on betting Alex Hernandez unless Kurt Holloway becomes like a public dog, but we'll see. At least right now, Tapology, a lot of people do think Hernandez wins, so I imagine this line will probably go to maybe minus 200 if people actually do believe that. But we'll see. That's going to be a good one. But all right, let's see. The last 2 fights in the card, man, I think these are really, really good. Alessi Zaleski against Chidi and Kuwan. Man, I'm butchering all these names. But man, why don't you go first? Start us off. What's your view on this fight?
Yeah, no,
Chidi against Zaleski.
They're tough names. All of them on this card are tough names. But yeah, no, I mean, Elizeu he's a UFC veteran. He has 11 wins in the UFC. So, I mean, a lot of experience, been there before, fought good guys. I don't know. This one's tough for me because they're both really good martial artists. I really like both of them. Chidi, he has 14 wins by TKO, so he has good striking. He's fought in the UFC. He's fought in Bellator. He's a veteran as well. Man, I don't know. This one's tough for me. I feel like Chidi kind of needs this one, even though he's coming off two wins. He has a good amount of losses before that, and so I think realistically to stay in the UFC, stay exciting. I think this is a fight for both guys on both ends to be like, all right, look, do you want to be at the top of the game, or do you want to just be another gatekeeper, right? So that being said, I don't know. I think it's going to be a tough fight. I think both guys are going to push the pace and move forward. I'm excited to see who edges this one.
Yeah, I mean, I've actually bet against or bet on both these fighters, so I know these fighters fairly well. Surprising to me that Zaleski's a minus 180 favorite. I have this line capped around much closer than that. I really think either fighter could win if they fight a certain game plan. Zaleski's very tough. I mean, he has knockout power. And so if he touches you, he could put you at lights out. Very physically strong, very explosive. Long reach, very long for the weight division. 6'3", 80-inch reach. So you have a 7-inch reach advantage and almost like 4 to 3-inch height advantage. So he will have the size. The one fight that I would want to talk about where I think maybe Chidi can take things from is that Randy Brown fight. A little bit of a different fighter, but Randy Brown showed if you're able to use your range, keep Zaleski away from using his power, using footwork, you can outpoint him and win a fight. If Chidi, for some reason, though, I've seen him do before, to get into firefights, stays in the pocket a little bit too long, kind of like throws those long punches, watches them, and gets clipped afterwards, you can definitely see Zaleski catching him. He's got his last 2 wins. Reese McKee split decision, a fight that was a lot closer than it should have been. And then Jared Gooden got unanimous decisions. Chidi, I don't know. He's someone I do like. I think he has a lot of talent. And he has the ability to win this fight. He keep range, keep Zaleski away from the power, use his footwork and jab. I think he can win a decision. But Zaleski, for sure, he's down to put himself out there. He had a tough time against Randy Brown and that power and that reach. So he may have that problem again. So if I had to make a bet, I'm trying to look at Chidi to see if maybe, there is, I think this line's a lot closer than it should be. But I will say Chidi has been unreliable. We've seen him fade in a few of his fights, especially in these last 3 where he did lose. He made these fights a lot harder than they should have, especially that Michael Oleksiejczuk fight. He was doing well, and then Michael just came back and beat the lights out of him. So makes it tough, but I will lean with Chidi. I don't know about you, man. Who do you like in this fight?
Yeah, it's tough. Like you said, like if Chidi keeps the pace and keeps the pressure on the entire time, I believe he could beat almost anybody in that division. He's athletic, he's strong, he's fast, he's got good technique. But it's just a matter of if he can keep the pace on him. I don't know. This fight's a toss-up for me, to be honest with you. If I had to choose a winner, I'm going to go Chidi. I believe in him. I think he's still got it. That being said, it could really go either way, to be honest with you. This is one of those 50-50 fights that I don't know who I would choose.
Yeah, no, these are tough, man. For me, like my principle's like 50-50. I try to get plus money unless I can maybe see more reason why I won't, especially these odds. Like another theme, man, a lot of juice, but minus 180 is a pretty significant favorite. Just to give you guys some context, right? Like if you guys are betting like these type of odds, the reason why I say like, if there's value on certain odds, a minus 180 implies that this person, they're going to win 65% of the time. If we did if we had all the time in the world, we could do 100 simulations. Do you think Zaleski wins like 65 of those fights out of 100? I don't think so, but I mean, that's what the odds are reflecting. But we'll see. But we're in agreement on this one. All right, man, we're back. We're out to the main event of the evening, guys. So you guys been here with us this long, man. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate you guys. Make sure you guys follow my boy, the Jiu-Jitsu Club, on Instagram, his YouTube, all his socials. Especially if you guys practice and roll, man. I mean, there's no reason why you should not be following his page.
Yes, sir.
One of the best Jiu-Jitsu page I've seen, social media, whatever. Let's talk about this one, man. This is a rematch, right? Martin Vettori against Roman Dolidze. And I bet the last time they fought, and I think it's right here. Let's see, where's the fight? Actually, did they fight last time? Yeah, right here. Yeah, Roman Dolidze fought Martin Vettori, and Martin Vettori got the W. I thought Martin Vettori lost that fight. So we'll see. I honestly thought Roman Dolidze got robbed. I thought he clearly won that fight, but now he gets his chance to get some revenge, and maybe even for me too. So my simple analysis on this fight, we saw the last fight. These guys are both big physical guys in their weight division. They're kind of similar. I mean, Dolidze, I believe, has better stand-up, but even though I would say this, Martin Vettori did look a little bit better on his stand-up in that fight against Dolidze. So they're pretty much even in many aspects. I think it's a really true 50-50 fight. Obviously, Vettori did get the win in that fight against him, but he did get his last fight. He got a loss against Jared Cannonier. Your boy, man, I know you're friends with Jared Cannonier. I was actually pretty surprised that Cannonier was able to work him and beat him down that bad. I mean, he pretty much beat the brakes off Vettori, in my opinion. And look, I think Dolidze, there were some points in that fight where he maybe took the gas off a little bit. He was trying to preserve his gas tank, I think. I don't think he was used to I believe that fight was a 5-round fight. I could be wrong. But nonetheless, this will be a 5-round fight. We've seen Vettori go 5 rounds. He's been there, done that against guys like Izzy and other fighters. But I truly think Dolidze I think he's much physically stronger. I still think he has a stand-up advantage. And I think if it does go to the ground, I personally think, even though Vettori is a pretty strong wrestler, Dolidze has better grappling. So in a fight, which again, I think it's 50-50, this is probably the best odds we've seen out of any fight, -140, +120. I lean Dolidze, man. Who do you got in this fight, man? I want to know what you got.
Yeah, I'm hyped for this fight. This fight's going to be sick. I love both guys. I've seen Marvin fight in person. Roman Dolidze always leaves everything he has in the cage, which is what I love about him. He's aggressive. He moves forward. He likes to fight. So, yeah, it's going to be good. It's a battle of the teams, too. King's MMA out in Huntington Beach, massive MMA team. Benil Dariush training over there. You got Extreme Couture in Vegas. I don't even think I need to say anything about them. They're just a bunch of savages. The last time they fight, yeah, like you said, close. Very, very close decision. Could have gone either way. Vettori, in this fight, it's going to come down to damage, I think. Whoever does the most damage is going to win the fight, right? If Vettori is piecing him up on the feet, landing his shots, landing good, clean, hard shots, I think Vettori is going to edge it out. That being said, like you said, if Roman Dolidze can close the distance, if he can get a hold of him, if he can take it down, make it dirty, force him to mix in the wrestling with the striking, that's a favorite for Roman. So, yeah, it kind of goes either way. If Marvin can keep it on the feet and piece him up, it's nice for Marvin, but Roman's a strong guy, and if he can drag it to the ground and damage, right? If he can land damage on the ground, that's going to be the biggest thing. So whoever's landing more damage, whoever's really inflicting that damage is going to take the fight. What is it? -140 for Marvin Vettori, +120 for Roman. Really, really close. I don't know, man. If I had to bet, I'm betting on Roman Dolidze. I like Roman. I think if he mixes, like I said, mixes in the wrestling, takes him down, lands some massive shots on the ground, even if Vettori stands back up, that damage is going to do wonders. And when you mix in the takedown, it kind of makes people a little bit shy with the striking. So we'll see. That being said, Marvin Vettori could come out and absolutely starch him on the feet. I don't know. It's going to be a great fight, and I can't wait.
Yeah, no, I think Vettori from his last, maybe not the Cannonier fight, but in the fight where he fought Dolidze, his stand-up was a lot better than he had fought previously. I think that was an improvement after fighting Whitaker. And obviously, he was probably improving it as he was like going to fight Israel and things like that. But surprisingly to me, Vettori actually has a really good gas tank for how big and jacked he is. Dolidze, I definitely seen him gas out or get a little bit tired in 3-round fights, but maybe now he's had a lot more time to prepare. He's trying to get some revenge. Hopefully, his cardio is up to task so he could go full out all 5 rounds. But he may not need it. But yeah, I'm with you, man. I like Dolidze in this fight. But hey, man, that's it for us, man. But before we go, anything else you want to say? The platform is yours, my man.
Oh, I appreciate it. Everybody check out the Jiu-Jitsu Club. Follow us on Instagram at the Jiu-Jitsu_club. On YouTube and TikTok at the Jiu-Jitsu_club. Check out the Jiu-Jitsu Club podcast. New episodes coming out every week on YouTube. And follow the Lock Talk on Instagram. Let's go, baby. UFC, we got it this weekend. Fight night coming up. Cheers, bro. Thank you for having me.
No, for sure, man. We'll be back for another big UFC card. There's definitely a lot more coming up. So I'm excited to come back with my man and break down the next one. But until the next one, guys, we'll see you
later.